to New York because now the kids are graduating, they would get jobs on Madison Avenue. So he said, well, I'll open a store, simple stuff, blazers, thick Harris tweeds, because the winters up in Connecticut were like this. And the classrooms didn't have the heating like we enjoy today.
Right.
The classrooms.
So that's why they wore all those tweed jackets.
Right, because they were cold, the suits. When I was in school, we used to buy these, same thing, a wool suit like this. They didn't have the, if they had heat, it was very limited.
There was no Lululemon.
Oh, please. Absolutely.
No fillery. What can we do?
A woman didn't even wear pants in them.
Right.
Not when I grew up.
Hey guys.
What's going on? Yaakov Schmeifel's in.
Okay.
Yeah, we just confirmed that this morning.
I'll tell you what, Maisa. We're all working on Bitachon. Hear my voice. If not for Bitachon, which I've been working on myself in different areas, I probably would have canceled share today. Baruch atah Adonai.
Amen.
Baruch Hashem. Everybody has things. And it's amazing, as we always know how Kadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. And we don't expect, open miracles. We've learned in this Chabur specifically how to see the miracles within Teva, right? The miracles within Teva, that's how Kadosh Baruch Hu, that's the bitachon that a person can rely on all the time. And within our own Teva, when we rise above our own tzimtzumim, our own constrictions, that's also considered like a nace. So beyond, and I'm not here to, I'm not looking for hero status, not at all. It's not the Indian. But you can hear my voice. I was up in the middle of the night. I woke up at who knows what time, found out that I had carpool this morning. When it was already 10 minutes past carpool. Had to drive to Far Rockaway with snow. Come back, didn't even prepare. Usually I prepare Sunday morning for the Chabura. I know where to prepare. I slept late because I was up in the middle of the night in the carpool. Still have to daven. Still have all the kids. I'm like, there's just stuff coming at me. I'm sorry. And then I remember we didn't finish last week. I already had prepared last week twice the amount that we got to. So Baruch Hashem, I have what to say. Last week I started with Yaakov Avinu.
That was one of my favorites.
So we didn't finish because we got really stuck in a good way in the I can't speak. I'm sorry. In the inyan of tefillah, within the whole context of Yaakov's situation. So Baruch Hashem, it was already prepared from last week. Hakadosh was makdim the refuah to the makkah. So let's chazer over a little bit. Let's come back, finish off. Maybe we'll finish. Remind me right at the end. We'll mention all the Chanukah Nakuda Mamish tonight. And I apologize. I'm not apologizing, but bear with me. So Yaakov Avinu, we discussed last week, Parshas Vayishlach. Really, Vayishlach, Vayeshev, all the Parshas, Yaakov and Yosef, are so filled with the sugya of bitachon in a real way. Because although all the others had emunah bitachon, of course, but the Parsha, Kadosh Baruch Hu decided that it was these Parshas that they would be explained in so much more detail. More detail. I'm a little bit, but Yaakov and Yosef, the situations, and you hear about them, what they're thinking sometimes, what they're saying, what they have to go through in more detail. So we have to learn from every single situation, and specifically, if you want, as we discussed last week, look at the Parsha with a bitachon lens. Look in each situation of the Avos and Yosef from that bitachon place. Of course, the end of the Parsha with Yosef trusting in the Tsar Mashkim, and then this week's Parsha, that's like the biggest sugya of them all. But we're not even ready for that. So Yaakov Avinu, again in Parshas Vayishlach, Pasuk says openly he's scared. Esav's come with 400 men. Yaakov thinks he's still upset at him. It seems to be maybe that's the report. It's unclear from the Pashup Shan Psukim. And he's scared. He's openly scared. And therefore immediately he makes a hishtadlus, we said. He splits the camp. It's the first move. Times of war, split the camp in case he gets half of us, he won't get all of us. From there, we said, that act of hishtadlus, the keli, yestov, the kli, that allowed him to now have the next stage of hishtadlus in a more properly balanced mindset, which is going to be the tefillah. Before he even davens, he made a move. Right? You see that you can make a move first. Yaakov Yunus thought it was an emergency situation. Esau's guest is coming very soon, even though it didn't happen exactly then. But it doesn't even mean that he actually split it, but he was going to split. That's his first thought. Let me split the camp. And then he says, okay, now I have to daven. So we discussed at length Yaakov Yunus tefillah in a very, very powerful way, because this tefillah, the structure of the tefillah, we all can use in any single tzara that we have. We should use it. And this was on, if you have the Chumash, but on Perek Lamed Beis, the pasuk Yud, he starts off, Vayomer Yaakov Elokei Avi Avram Elokei Avi Yitzchak. Like we start Shemona Esrei, Elokei Avram Elokei Yitzchak Elokei Yaakov. He's setting the stage. I'm just chazering over, but it's important for us to hear it again. Before you daven, don't just jump into davening. First set, who are we talking about here? Who's the Kadosh Baruch Hu? Go back to Zuchas Avos. He's the God of my forefathers. For us, it's Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. For Yaakov, it was Avram and Yitzchak. But he said that. And then he says, why am I davening? Ha'omer Elai, Kadosh Baruch Hu, you said to me, Shuv la'artzechu u'moladitcha beiti v'imach. Kadosh Baruch Hu, you told me to go back home and you're going to be good to me. So I'm on the way home, and now this guy Esau's coming at me, and it's taka scary. That's why I'm turning to you in tefillah. I'm setting, again, the muskul rishon. The first move in our thinking as much as possible, and our tefillah has to be from the top down, which is, this is HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It's not Esav, and I have to daven to HaKadosh Baruch Hu to save me from Esav. It's HaKadosh Baruch Hu who sent me home, who sent Esav, and therefore I deal with you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. I'm davening to you. And then before he gets into the bakasha, we said, now that he set it straight, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're the one who decided that this situation should happen, that's I'm scared. And my fear is triggering me in a positive way to turn to you. And not just that, now I'm seeing what I have, right? Again, why is Yaakov Avinu scared? He's scared, of course, for his own life, but he's scared for much more. He's scared for his wives, his children, maybe his livestock, maybe, whatever. But he recognizes that moment why he's scared. Katonti mikol chasad mikol emes asher asisa esavdecha ki b'makli varti es yarden ezeva atal hayisiv l'shnei machanos. I've become so small, so much chesed you've done for me, Kadosh Baruch Hu, until today. Till the day that I woke up, because this fear woke me up. And I'm scared because I have a family. Shtei machanos, va'ata hayisiv l'shnei machanos. I have 2 machanos. I have 4 wives and 12 children, tons of stuff. And that's why I'm scared. And because I'm scared, I'm actually stopping for a moment because Yaakov's in the right headset, right mindset, which is an amazing thing. And he's saying, I recognize the tov you've done for me, Kadosh Baruch Hu, until now. I'm going to tell, before I go into my bakasha about what I want next, again, the tefillah is order him to look back and recognize what he does have, which is an amazing act of calm and tranquility from Yaakov Avinu. I've become small. You've given me so much. I'm like humbled by this. Because when I left home, I only had a staff. And now I have 2 machanos. Now, the third part of the tefillah, pasuk Yud, then he says, Hatzileni na miyad, achim miyad esav ki yoreh anochi, save me because I'm scared. Yaakov Avinu's open. He's not trying to hide it. He's not saying, I'm a Baal B'Ton extraordinary, I'm not scared of anything. No. Lamai said, it's true. I'm scared. There's nothing wrong with being scared if you recognize that it's coming from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. First of all, the fear is coming from a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That's called a proper Yiras Hashem. If Esau's coming at him, people have to learn this. This is Chassidus, but we have to learn this. If Esau's coming at Yaakov, and Yaakov's scared that Esau's going to kill him, and Yaakov's now scared. If Yaakov is scared of Esau, and only Esau, and Esau has his own power to kill, so that's called the Yira Nefula. Yaakov is fearing pain. If Yaakov's scared, but he recognizes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who's sending Esau, and yes, the fear ultimately is over potential pain and destruction, but he recognizes that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the Mishaleach, that's called Yiras Hashem. It's a huge difference between That's a huge difference. It's so subtle. Do you recognize HaKadosh Baruch Hu or do you not? If you do recognize Hashem, it's the highest level of Yiras Hashem. It's a Yirah from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We don't think of Yiras Hashem that way. If you don't see HaKadosh Baruch Hu in it, and you just see some scary guy coming at you, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu could save you, so yeah, you believe in Hashem and you're dominating HaKadosh Baruch Hu, but you will not get Yiras Hashem. It's Yirah, it's a fallen Yirah, because you're scared of some guy, and they're asking your big brother HaKadosh Baruch Hu to save you from that guy. But we're missing the true essence. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent that guy. Why? Don't know. We could go into why, but that's not the point. We don't have to know why. Ma'aseh says HaKadosh Baruch Hu sent him, and I'm scared, therefore I'm scared from you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Don't fear anybody else but HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It doesn't mean don't be scared of what's coming at you. It means don't think that that's the end of the line. That's what it means. Of course, a guy's coming at you, 400 men, you run. But remember, as much as you can, of course, we're human beings, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is the one who's behind it. So, HaKadosh Baruch Hu saved me because I'm scared of him. But I know it's from you. Yud Gimel, Va'ata Amarta, and you told me, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the reason why I'm coming here is not because I think that I have Zechuyos. Because really, I'm so small because of all of what you've already given me. I don't feel I deserve. I don't feel like I deserve. I don't have expectations. So then why am I asking you to save me? Because you told me, you said you're gonna be good to me. I'm just trying to understand how this makes sense. You told me that I'm gonna have Samti Azaracha Kechol Hayam. You're gonna have children, tons and tons of children. So Yaakov Avinu is expressing why he's davening. Right? If we don't express why we're davening very often, and we discuss this many times, we might in the back of our mind have expectations. We might feel that we deserve this. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, can I have parnasa, please? I know it comes from you. Can I have parnasa, please? So if you don't express why you're asking a little bit more, could be, probably, is coming because you expect it, you deserve it. Why does that guy have it and not me? So instead, you should express. Tefillah is about letting it out, right? Don't let your 3 times a day tefillah take over the entire world of tefillah for us. But when it comes to a certain sorrow, a certain thing, whether it's in monetary, shidduchim, health, whatever it is, in mental, give a real tefillah from start to end. Kadosh Baruch Hu, it's from you. You've given me so much in my life. I'm so humbled by what you've given me. But it looks like I need this inyan. And the reason why I'm asking for this inyan, Kadosh Baruch Hu, is because I know it's from you. And we have a relationship already. That I try to do my best, and that I trust in you, and I'm asking you to if this is the right thing, help me out. But when you speak that end out, you what's the word? You neutralize the hidden gaiva, the hidden expectations, and the magir li, it's coming to me, I deserve this. We have to neutralize that, because if you don't, it's probably there. And when you speak it out, you're protecting yourself. We're in this together for a long time. I know I'm not the best. I'm not the worst. I'm trying my best, and I trust in you. Right? Speak this out, and you're going to save yourself from so much stress and anxiety afterwards. Because if let's say a person davens, and he has these expectations, and now he doesn't get. What's going to happen? Stress, bother, worried, because he davened. He thought a Kodesh Baruch Hu was going to give it to him. In the back of his head, he didn't say it, but he feels he deserves it. He expects it. He doesn't get it. He's going to be upset. But if at the get-go, you express properly, humbly, truly, authentically, Kodesh Baruch Hu, I'm asking for this thing. Because I know that you love me. I know you're the most kind to me. You know what's best for me. And I'm asking for this because it seems to be the best. But I know also that it's all from you at the end of the day. But you start adding. And if that's what you want, great. Because what does a mirza Hashem means? It means if you want. It could be also you don't want. If you don't want, help me trust you. Help me get through this in some way. Now, if you don't get, doesn't mean it's going to be peaches. But you've prepared yourself. You've already stated, maybe I won't get, and I still trust the Kadosh Baruch Hu. And I still believe that this is what's best for me. It's going to be hard, but at least you've set yourself properly. Right? Life's not peaches. Just because you've said this thing, everything's going to go well, you're going to get what you want, or if you don't get what you want, you're just going to be calm. No one said that. But you'll be calmer, and you're building, and over time you will get even better and better. It's called life, no? It's like regular, normal life, but doing with the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So Yaakov Avinu davens that daven.
It's not have Yira and Menuchas Nefesh at the same time.
I have to think about that a little bit more.
Simultaneously, probably not.
I have to think about that a little bit more.
Well,
Yes,
there's a realistic.
So that's what you mean,
fear.
Yira. There's a lot of different types of Yira.
So,
The Yira that I was discussing?
I'll clarify the question. Yeah, Yaakov Avinu in the Pasuk, in that moment where he says Yare Anafi, is he in a state of Mamish Yira, even higher Yira, and he's lacking Menuchas Nefesh in that moment, or he's somehow accessing and having this feeling of Yiras Hashem, but even at the same time has like a base level of Menuchas Nefesh where he's.
This is what I would say. This is what I would say. I don't know. This is what I would say. We're human beings, and we have different emotions. And when a person's in a state of fear, you wouldn't call that menucha. Although a person could be fearful and like totally out of his bonkers, or he could be fearful in a little bit more of a better state of fear. And you see from Yaakov, what I would suggest is that you see that this he's oscillating. He's mamish, he's scared. He says he's scared. But then he davens, and we're about to say, and then he went to sleep at night. And then he gets scared again. We're going to discuss him. And you see that he's oscillating back and forth. So whether or not he mamish had tranquility by the Yira doesn't really matter, because if he's doing it right, he's at the best emotional state he could be at. Sometimes we're scared. HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to scare us because that wakes us up. But again, if you don't have a HaKadosh Baruch Hu at the forefront, you're going to go crazy and just run and do emergency SOS and go bonkers. But if you have it with a HaKadosh Baruch Hu, you're going to still be scared, but it'll be a better scared. So we want to always maximize our emotions. We can't be tranquil 24/7.
The best part about this whole interchange is that there's a circumstance, there's a reaction, there's tefillah, there's sleep, there's a reaction.
Well, even the tefillah is a reaction. They're all reactions.
Yeah, they're all. But I'm
Is that good?
Well, I'm using the terminology.
It's great. That's what I want us to.
Oh, I should not have said
Yeah.
reaction. I should have said established, because the first thing he did is split the camps.
But I understand what Chaim's asking, but I think
because you're asking like throughout that experience that he just remains calm. It can't be, because that's what triggers. But the stimulus, there's a stimulus that happens in a person's body, and it's a natural reaction to circumstance.
Well, that's
The natural circumstance.
No, that's my question. Okay, I'm making the assumption that Yaakov Avinu is the ideal. So if Yaakov Avinu is the ideal, I understand we're all human, we're not there, but that's somewhere we want to get to. So we have to understand, where do we want to get to? Do we want to get to a place where there's somehow this like combination Yira and Menuchas Nefesh at the same time? Or are we saying, which should be the answer to the question, no, that's not how it works. There's this back and forthness where it's like I'm having a moment of Yira, but then I'm going back to Menuchas Nefesh, and there's this back and forth, and we need to somehow get balance.
Yeah, the fact that he says Yare, it means Yira is a feeling. It's a feeling. It's an emotion, and what does Hashem want us to do? Don't sit there and start thinking about the emotion. Take action, and the action is either hishtadlus, tefillah, and then the construct of how tefillah should be done. This is like the paradigm, and then hishtadlus.
and I'll pick up there. Just to jump into it, also just another point, because Chaim's asking in order to expand ourselves, and we've said this. A person may think, and we're in a parentheses here. We're gonna get back to Yaakov in a minute. If you had perfect bitachon, and you had the highest level of hishtavus, which means equilibrium.
Equanimity.
So equanimity, thank you. So then maybe you also never be besimcha in life, because everything's exactly the way it's supposed to be. Menuchas nefesh, perfect, just nice. It would be a level of simcha for sure, but not like an explosive simcha. And the answer is, I think, with all of these inyanim and the fear, is that bitachon will put us in make us the best keli for the best possible emotional situation. Here, fear was good for Yaakov. It woke him up to the Chasdei Hashem, Hakar Satov. It woke him up to Tefillah. It woke him. And sometimes Kadosh Baruch Hu wants us to give us a heavy amount of simcha. But if a person gets super excited over ridiculous things, then he might miss out on the true simcha l'chaim. A person only gets excited when he makes tons of money. then he doesn't realize when he goes outside and he sees the sunny day, not today, or the beauty of the snow, he can miss that simcha because he's only waiting for that type of simcha. But bitachon, menuchas nefesh, that world, Kadosh Baruch Hu is running the weather. It's crazy outside. I have carpools and it's slipping and sliding. So a person gets all nervous and stressed. But if with bitachon, this is exactly what he wants it to be. Today's going to be a little bit of a slower day. It's okay. And you know what? I can enjoy the sun, the snow. Because without it, your kids are going to love the snow. They're going to go outside. They're going to be looking outside. They're going to be like amazed by the snow. And you're like, what are you so happy about? I got to go shovel. And you missed out on such an opportunity of Chazdei Hashem. Okay, I want to finish this. Chaim's give you one more chance.
One last one.
Yeah.
I think what you just did there was you separated myself from the emotion. And you said, I am not afraid. Instead, I have fear right now. And what message is that fear telling me? That fear is telling me, okay, I need to do a shtadlus, I need to die. So there's a little bit of like a separation. Instead of saying, I am afraid right now, it's...
Instead of getting lost in the fear, you're able to think.
Because you are not your feelings.
Exactly.
You are not.
Bitachon does that.
Huh?
We've discussed that. Bitachon makes that little bit tiny gap.
That gap, exactly.
Yeah. Lets you think within the emotion.
Right.
I am scared. Instead of a person just being scared and then just acting without being able to know that I'm scared right now. The very fact that a person can stop during a moment of fear and say, I am scared right now. There's such a difference between that. I am overwhelmed right now.
He does in the pasuk.
Yeah. I am scared. He could say that. He's cognizant of that. That means Yaakov's living here instead of living here, getting lost here. This is huge.
I think it's the difference is called being healthy or unhealthy. Unhealthy
that could be
would be
saying
getting lost over here. Healthy is staying up here and actually.
Yeah, this is what we're doing. Bitachon keeps us our head above the water. We could be churning with emotions, and that's human nature. But the head connected to Kadosh Baruch Hu stays above that, and also and eventually lifts the emotions up. We discussed this, but this is putting it all together. So let's keep going. So now Yaakov Avinu davens. Now he said he's scared. He was scared level 1. He split the camp. He then goes into tefillah. He's trying to connect to what he's trying to do. He's trying to connect to Kadosh Baruch Hu. I'm scared, but he's appreciating what Kadosh Baruch Hu has done for him in his life. He's calming down to some degree. And we discussed last week, Chaim made the ha'ara. I told you Shalom also made the ha'ara. When he went to sleep, he was able to go to sleep. The guy was churning, scared, not so simple to go to sleep. Then he wakes up in the middle. He wakes up, it looks like in the middle of the night, because there's Vayolin Sham B'Leilahu, Vayikach Mena Bar B'Yado, and he starts taking the animals to send to Esav. So it sounds like, again, I'm using Pashup Shot. It sounds like he woke up in the middle of the night. He slept to some degree, but he's still not fully calm. Why? Because he realizes that there's some other hishtadlus he could do. Until we do the appropriate amount of hishtadlus from ourselves, we will be unable to fully give ourselves over to a Kadosh Baruch Hu to trust, to be fully calm. If we just sit in our bed and there's something that we can do, we'll always know in the back of our head, I could do something, but I'm trying to trust on a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Both things are twirling at the same time. It's not going to work. You're not going to be calm. Bitachon equals menuchas nefesh. That's what we're trying to get to. So Yaakov wakes up and says, you know what? There's something else I could do. What could I do? Well, then he starts to think. Remember, Yaakov could think. With Bitachon, you could think. Well, let's think for a second. Why is Esav probably upset at me? Because I stole the bracha. Now, the bracha means money. Esav loves money. So maybe I got a ton of stuff now. Maybe I should send that to Esav. Right? That's what he's able to think. And as we discussed last week, Yaakov Avinu, the one who his bank account is run by Kadosh Baruch Hu, the entire government that backs the currency, right, of Yaakov Avinu is a Kadosh Baruch Hu. He realizes, and this happens inevitably in a lot of situations that we deal with, money comes in, whether it's directly or indirectly, or you need a therapist, and then there's money that you have to pay for the therapist. Money comes in. So how do we deal with that? Chavos Vavos has taught us, and Yaakov Avinu understands that a Kadosh Baruch Hu gave me all this stuff. Who said all this stuff is for me? When all the money comes into the bank account, if you think it's my money, it's going to be very, very hard to give it up when it's needed to be. You need to give it up because it's my heart and my mind says, do. How much should I give? I give this much, that, bonus. But if a person understands that his bank account is not his, he trusts that the Kadosh Baruch Hu gives him everything for when it's needed. Some for him, some for his family, some for on a rainy day, some for when a guy with Asa with 400 men are coming at you. He understands that that's what he should give them. He should give these animals away. How many times does a person hold back money? That's probably what he needs to do. Pay for this therapist, pay for that therapist, pay for this Indian, for that Indian, give up some money, lend some money. But it's so hard because it's my money. What am I going to do now if I give this money now? I'm nervous then. The monetary aspect makes a person crazy. It doesn't allow him in the moment to be calm. He can't give it now to be calm because what about in 2 weeks from now? The fear of 2 weeks from now is messing him up right now. But Yaakov Avinu with Bitachon says, I have to give animals. And he gives lots and lots of animals. He gives the whole thing. And he tells them, you should even use these messengers to tell Asa, listen, forgive me. Right? Forgive me. Here's animals for you. Forgive me for what I did to you. I took the bracha. Shtadlis. He doesn't just send the animals and say, oh, Kadosh Baruch Hu wants me to send animals. I'll just send it and Kadosh Baruch Hu will take care of it. No, he sent messengers to tell Esav, I'm sorry. Yaakov, signed Yaakov, I'm sorry. Here's a present for you. Forgive me. And the pasuk says, pasuk of Beis, after he tells the messengers what to say, Atavar mincha panav. So the bound, what's it called in English? The tribute goes out in front of him. V'hu lon by layla b'machane. He goes back to sleep. That night seems to be that he woke up in the middle of the night, did this whole thing with animals, and went back to sleep that night. To finish his right menucha. It says it's funny because it says b'machane. Why is it machane? Because it's menucha, same letters, menucha. He went back to sleep to finish off his sleep. Because sometimes when you wake up in the middle of the night, something that's bothering you, if there's something you could do it. Of course you believe a Kadosh Baruch Hu and you trust him. He's with you the whole time.
It's reference to
camp.
I just can't. I thought it was always left and right.
Then it says he got up again, and he goes and he crosses the river. This part, I wasn't able to, even last week, I skipped it. This part of the story, how it fits in. He fights with the man. I'm not going to try to be masber right now, according to our Mahalach, but I'll just say one nikud, which is very important. When we get into situations and we're in Saras and we're trying to do our best by setting ourselves properly with Emunah Bitachon and doing our ishtadlus and davening the proper tefillah in the structure, and we're mamish in it, and then we wake up, we're still a little nervous, and we send the presents. We're really locked in to Kadosh Baruch Hu. We're locked into Emunah Bitachon in all the areas of ishtadlus and bitachon, like we've discussed. Locked in, yeah? Sometimes a Kadosh Baruch Hu throws you a curveball. Something else happens. You're locked in. Yaakov Avinu is locked in, and then he's going home, driving home from shul, and some guy smashes into his car, or takes his spot, or just starts asking him incessant questions, or starts to bother him, or you're locked into something, you need a parnas, and you're dealing with a Kadosh Baruch Hu, and then your kids start pulling on your shirt to ask you, can I have this, can I have that, can I have this? But you're locked in to your situation. You're trying your best. What are we talking with the Kadosh Baruch Hu here? And then your wife starts asking, when can we go on vacation? I feel like we're not spending enough time together. And you're trying to focus on paying the bills, and you're trying to dive in and connect yourself. And she's like, yeah, but you never take me out on vacation. And you're like, and it's true, and it's hurting you, and you're like, I can't deal with this right now because I'm dealing with. So v'yavek ishimo, sometimes the Kadosh Baruch Hu throws you a curveball in the middle of your Shaar HaBitachon. And you have to know that that's part of it. You got to just put that right into the mix. Okay, Kadosh Baruch Hu, now you're telling me another thing. And I know it's for my best, right? You got to throw it right in. That's the only point I want to make about that fight. Because there's much more private to talk about, but I don't, again, I told you. I'm not going to make it up. I don't have it prepared. So then he even gets hurt, fine. Now let's go to the end. So now Yaakov Avinu finally meets up, Perek Lamed Gimel. He meets up with Esav. So I want to make the point is, so he finally gets there, skipping some parts, and Esav has a conversation with him. Pasuk says, so Esav says three things to Yaakov. So he says, "V'yomer milucha kol machane hazeh." Who is this whole camp? That was another reference, yeah? Who is this camp that you have asher pagashti that I've met? I'm sorry, take it back. That wasn't the first thing you said. No. Vayisas eina vayaras hanoshim. So Yisrael lifts his eyes. Hold on. Try my best here. Esav raises his eyes and he says, who are these women, who are these kids that you have? Now remember, Yaakov splits the camp. The first thing he does is splits the camp. He splits his wives and his kids. And it's because he split the camp. What was that ma'orah to Yaakov? Hakar Satov. In the fear. The fact that he had to split the two camps, his wives and his children, it was ma'orim Hakar Satov to Kadosh Baruch Hu. So he says, Vayomer, mi elu lach. Who are these? Who are these people? So what does Yaakov Avinu answer? Now, this is the point I want to make. Yaakov Avinu, the one, the Baal Bitachon, who's always connecting to Kadosh Baruch Hu, in the entire situation here. He recognizes from him that the fear comes from him because it's from Esav. And he understands that it's being ma'orer him to split the camp and to appreciate what he has. So how does Yaakov Avinu finish off? This is what we discussed many months ago. It is so important. You see it from Yaakov Avinu clear. We have to try our best. It's called bitachon language. You need to speak emunah and bitachon. So Esav says, who is this? What does Yaakov say? What would we all say? It's my children. Yomer hayeladim asher chonan elokim esavdecha. These are the children that Kadosh Baruch Hu graced me with. This is the family that Kadosh Baruch Hu gave me. Because that's how Yaakov Avinu lived. He believed mamish that Kadosh Baruch Hu gave it to him. He felt katanti mikol chasadim. He splits the camp. And now when he speaks to Esav, he says, with the Kadosh Baruch Hu's name on his mouth, on his lips. These are the children that Kadosh Baruch Hu gave me. Parenthetically, this week's parasha Vayeshev was by Yosef HaTzadik, the one who took Yaakov's avoda. Right, the pasuk says that Kadosh Baruch Hu was always with Yosef. Rashi on the spot says, because Yosef was always speaking to a Kadosh Baruch Hu during when his work in Potiphar's house. He's speaking to a Kadosh Baruch Hu because he had bitachon language. How do you think Yosef made it all those years? We can't compare anything. I'm not comparing anything, but we're dealing with people. We have human beings who, there was one who was just here last week, who was in captivity for an insane amount of time. I'm not comparing Yosef to them. I'm not comparing anything. I'm just saying, but the way they speak about a Kadosh Baruch Hu now, that he was with them in the tunnels, where they found a Kadosh Baruch Hu in the darkness. We see what gets a person through the darkness.
You know what he responded after he got out? He said, I know I'm in a good headspace because this past Sunday I went to my car and my car was broken into and my phone was stolen.
This one of these?
Yeah, he Bar Cooperstein. And he said, at that moment I said, thank you Hashem, that these are the problems I get to deal with today.
That's what he said?
Yeah. And when he says it,
yeah.
It's a little different.
But we're not speaking.
Somebody asked him, where are you holding now? Like that. He said, I'll tell you. You want to hear? I'll tell you.
Let me tell you about real life.
Let me tell you about real life. My phone was stolen.
I mean, we don't explain to Kadosh Baruch Hu. We're not anything. But the moment we're in right now, the chizuk that they're bringing to people more than anybody else in the entire world. You can't have people any better that can give chizuk than the people who are in it and the way they come out. We're not explaining everything before. I'm just talking about right now, this moment. Now, so he brings the family close to Esav. Fine. Then he says, "V'yomer milucha kol machan hazeh asher pagashni." What was all these animals and these people? What was this? 550 animals. According to the Pashup Shalom Psukim, Yaakov sends to Esav. 550. That's an entire farm or two. It's a lot. V'yomer lim sachin b'nei Adoni. I sent this to find grace in the eyes of my master. Now, Esav thinks Yaakov is speaking to him. But Adoni could also be Adonai. So Yaakov, at the same time, when he's speaking to Esav, he's always speaking to Kadosh Baruch Hu. This is, I think I once mentioned it, the Ramban writes in Devarim remember which pasuk of Dvekus it is, but by Dvekus, the mitzvah deraisa of Dvekus, Ubo Sidbaku, I don't remember which one. The Ramban writes, one of the offspring, what a person could come to with Dvekus, clinging, cleaving to Kadosh Baruch Hu is, you could be speaking to another person, a guy, something about business, and yet you're speaking to a Kadosh Baruch Hu. Because yes, you're speaking to a human being, but you see right through that person. It has to be a Kadosh Baruch Hu. That doesn't just happen overnight, Chaver.
Awesome.
This is a Yaakov Avinu. He's been working on this his whole life. So Asa thinks he's talking to him. Adoni. Asa's like, oh, yeah.
By the way, this is a common thread with the Gentile, that when a Jew speaks to them, they understand that the Jew is really saying something different. The Gentile does understand that.
Okay.
And that's why they're always concerned, in doing business with the Jew, until you have to get, well, you don't have to, but you have to get them to overcome that fear with you. That's my lifetime observation.
Interesting. Because they're really scared of us. We're really on top.
Yes, they when you come in,
the pasuk says
that you're saying something else. See, they know that you could look at it differently. They look at it flat. No matter what the situation is,
because they know how smart we are. Meaning,
but they know that you have a cut to it.
Happens to be parenthetically also. Yaakov Avinu gets the bracha from Yitzchak, and it really came already from Rivka, but from Yitzchak, it says Klal Yisrael is going to be up. If Klal Yisrael messes up, then Esav can come up. But as long as Klal Yisrael doesn't mess up, and we connect to Kodesh Baruch Hu, we do our Torah mitzvahs, we will be up. And even the Gentiles who do business with us, at first they're because they know we're smart. Anyway,
it's the only way they get to us. It's the only way.
If we lower ourselves.
But that's their methods. Their methods.
Look what happened. Esav, I bet you. We don't know. I bet you Esav was coming to kill Yaakov. I bet he was mamish ready. When Yaakov got the reports he's coming, he probably was coming. He was sharpening his knives. I'm sure of it. But Yaakov Avinu's avoda, connecting to Kadosh Baruch Hu, even though he was scared, but staying with the Kol Yachol, Kadosh Baruch Hu, Taka changed Esav. And it made him a puppy dog. Let's keep going. Now the pasuk says, so again, Yaakov says to Esav, so what's with all the stuff? So Yaakov says back, it was to find grace in my master's eyes, which Esav again thought was him. Yaakov was speaking to Kadosh Baruch Hu. Pasuk says, V'yomer Esav, Yesh li rav achi. I have a ton. I have a lot. Yaakov, I love you. You keep it. Yelucha shelach. You keep it. V'yomer Yaakov, Al na imna matzazichem beinecha, v'lakachti minchas miyadi. No, please. If I find grace in your eyes now, I didn't say Adoni, it says in your eyes. Take it. Ki al kain, listen to this lashon. Ki al kain ra'isi fanecha, because I see in your face, Esav, kiros penei elokim v'tirtzeni. I see in your face the face of God. He says to Esav, wow. And you should take it, you should be satisfied, and you should forgive me. So he's really buttering Esav up. Who is Yaakov speaking to? Who is Yaakov cognizant of? Kadosh Baruch Hu. What are you telling Esav, I see the face of God in you? No, you know what Esav, you know what Yaakov's saying? He, again, Pashup level, he's saying to Esav, he's buttering him up. I see the face of God in you. You're amazing. Take this money. I'm humbly accept you. What's he saying? This whole situation that I was already scared of from day one, and I split my camp, and I davened, and it was my army to thank a Kodesh Baruch for everything I have, and Yaakov went on this whole journey, inner journey, also doing external hishtadlus. It was all because you, Esav, in you I see kiros penei elokim, because the Kodesh Baruch Hu sent you. Kodesh Baruch Hu wanted this whole thing to happen. He used you as a messenger. I see the face of God in you, not because Esav is. You understand? That's what Yaakov's saying. Kodesh Baruch Hu wants me to give you the money. He wants me not to have these 550 animals. That's what Kodesh Baruch Hu wants, and I'm happy with it. It's not that I had it in my bank account, and now this crazy thing happened, that law lane or the business went down, or the car got this, or the kid went this, and I have to take the money out, and so what am I going to do? I'm so nervous. I have all these bills to pay. No. I see a Kodesh Baruch Hu's face in this entire inyan. I'm not scared. I'm not worried. This is what Kadosh Baruch Hu wants the whole time. He does those 550 animals. Is a lot of money. He never wanted me to have it, said Yaakov Avinu. Because my money's backed by Kadosh Baruch Hu. He lived by the dollar bill, in God we trust. Of course, no one else does except Yaakov Avinu does. Right, the currency is backed by a Kadosh Baruch Hu, so it's my dollar's worth a lot. I'll go back for the Bachim Ketanim, Hamevin Yamin. But that's what he was saying to Esav. I see God in this. V'tirtzeni and a Kadosh Baruch Hu. V'tirtzeni, there's a Kadosh Baruch Hu's Ratzon. It's Kadosh Baruch Hu's Ratzon. So then what does Yaakov Avinu say? Kach naz berchasi, take my bracha that I stole from you, that a Kadosh Baruch Hu wanted me to have, but I'm giving it to you. Asher huvas lach. Again, ready for the Bitachon language? Ki chanani elokim. It's all the money I have, the emes, HaKadosh Baruch Hu graced me with. V'chi yesh li kol. And I have everything. As I discussed in the Drush of Shabbos 2 weeks ago, Yaakov Avinu, how could he say v'chi yesh li kol, I have everything? He just gave 550 animals. He's trying to give away all of his wealth. How could he say yesh li kol? Because if you believe ki chanani elokim, because if you believe that HaKadosh Baruch Hu mamish is the one who gives you your money, and every moment is for the best. There's never a moment where you don't have everything. You have 550 animals. That's what the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants. You have yesh li kol. You have to give up the 550 animals. That's what the Kadosh Baruch Hu wants. Yesh li kol. There's no difference. There's no difference. If the one who's backing your money, Bashkacha Pratis, who gives you every single dollar you have, tailor made, is the Kadosh Baruch Hu. You always have kol because you're dealing with the kol yachol. Yesh li kol. I have kol because I have the kol yochel, the Kadosh Baruch Hu with me. That's how Yaakov Avinu lived. He's not talk is cheap. He lived it. You see the whole situation here. He was working for years. First with Yitzchak, then he learned in the Shem Ve'ever, and he had to deal with Lavan, preparing for this. Every word of Yaakov Avinu is all bitachon. He lived it. The yesh li kol. Could you imagine you feel that? Imagine you walking all day long, yesh li kol. So I have to give this money to this person, or this money I gave, or the money. You feel yesh li kol, that's called bitachon. That's bitachon. I'm with the kol yochel. But I really feel it takes time. You have to have the emunah, you have to work on with the davening, drawing it down, thinking about it, having the feelers, coming back up. Yesh li kol.
But it only comes like there's that pasuk, Avram Zaken Bayamin, the Shem Berach, Bakol. It seems to me like, as much as you work on that, that's something that Zakin Bayamin always resonated with me, that this is something you're going to have to work on. And
Gemara says Zakin kana chachma. It's a chachma. It's a sickness, but it means it takes time. It takes time. And we could work on, we'll finish with these 2 points. Because then Yaakov, we could talk about every parsha with this lens, but this is a lot. But even in terms of bitachon, that menuchas hanefesh, that we're waiting for, that we're davening for, that we're working on. You can do all the shtadlis in the world. But the actual feeling of menuchas hanefesh that you feel in any given moment or any given situation that rocks your world, also know that that's a Kadosh Baruch Hu. And when we're working on bitachon, we're doing all the proper shals. We're building ourselves as the best possible kli that if a Kadosh Baruch Hu wants to drop menuchas hanefesh in our system, it'll be there. So that also we have to give up on. Right? Because I'm trying to do bitachon, I'm doing this, and I'm being like Yaakov Avinu, and I'm still not calm. Because who said that you can affect anything? Man, remember, in bitachon we do everything we possibly can, but then you have to give up on the result. The result of our own life is the menuchas hanefesh in your heart at that moment. That's the result. So we do everything, and then kulai, what is it? Kulai v'ulai, whatever. You do everything, and then v'ulai, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu decides. End off, just one nakuda. I think about this every year. Maybe right, maybe wrong. But the Chashmonaim, after they destroy Yavon, they come back to the Beis HaMikdash. They know everything's a shambles. They've seen it. And we know they found the Pach Shemen in it, lights, mamish, gewalt, 8 days, we have Hanukkah, Nes. I think the very fact that they went to look for the Pach Shemen, that they did his shtadlus in a place that doesn't make any sense. Just go to the land of Asher, where they have the nice olive trees, go to the and bring it back. The fact that they even went to look for a Pach Shemen, it wasn't that they went to look and clean up and they found a Pach Shemen. They went to look for a Pach Shemen. Maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu left something. That fact that they did Ishtalis, even though it was crazy, that comes from a place of bitachon. Because they're willing to do their Ishtalis, whether they find, they didn't find. You do what you have to do, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu will do it for the rest. Mamish to beautiful Chanukah.
So Sam says it.
He says that? Maybe it could be that I heard that.
Badku Matsu.
Badku Matsu.
The Chiddush is there was Badku. How could it be? What do you boydek? Everything is in shambles. There's nothing there. And yet they kept on going back and looking and looking. They didn't give up. They were never miyayish.
So I'll tell you a remez. Ready for the remez? The fact that the Chashmonaim, not only they went out to war, which was ridiculous, the Zeres Nefesh Mamish. That's for a different level of bitachon, not for now. And they went to search. Because they did that, they acted a midah, they acted l'mayla min hateva, mamish l'mayla min hateva, because regular teva is, what am I going to go look for? I'll just make oil, we'll figure it out. They acted l'mayla min hateva, so midah keneged midah, Kadosh Baruch Hu acted l'mayla min hateva, and made it, the oil last 8 days. Look at the word chashmonaim in your head. Ches shemen yom. Their name represents the 8 days of the oil because they gave the koach to that because of their Mesiras Nefesh. Chashmonaim, look at it, think about it. Ches shemen yom. They became the light. That's why it lit 8 days, because they acted in their trust. So Kadosh Baruch Hu says, now let's make it real. Let's make some real fireworks. Next week we're off. Next week.
Also, he wrote that he brought that he said that the